Hello, hello, hello. This is your message from the universe for September 27th, 2020. This is the rune Jira. Jira is the rune of the harvest. It is the rune of the 1-year cycle. And this rune is absolutely, it's such a good rune to get, especially when you take it in context with the readings that we've been having. The readings that we've been having are about preparing, are about getting ourselves ready, about doing the inner work, about doing the outer work and learning what we need to learn so that we are prepared when our progress starts. It talks about how we're right on that verge of progress. And I can tell it's a little bit, disappointing to be sitting in that holding pattern. It's like being at the airport and sitting on the runway in the plane to the dream vacation that you're going to go to, and you get stuck on the runway for an hour before you have to take off, or 2 hours, or 5 hours, or 10 days, or a month and a half. But this rune is kind of giving you, like, it's cheering you on, like it's giving you, look, I know you're frustrated. I know you're having issues with this whole waiting thing, but let me tell you what's coming. Let me tell you what's next. It's talking about how when you plant a garden, you fertilize the ground, you put in your seeds, you water every day. When you see that little shoot, that little plant start to come up, you can't grab it and pull it to make it go faster. Okay, so this rune is really trying to tell you to be mindful of your patience, to be mindful of the process, to be in this moment. This moment in your journey will never happen again exactly the way that it's happening right now. So here's your cheerleading card. Here's your future destination that they're talking about in this cycle. I love this reading. Honestly, I've never done a reading where all of these cards come out at the same time from the same deck. I used 2 different decks here, and they all popped out together. I was blown away. So we have the Sun card, which the Sun card is always about happiness. It's always about success. Even when it's reversed, it talks about a temporary kind of setback that is going to lead you to that happiness, to that joy, to that space of fulfillment and peace. The 10 of Cups talks about wish fulfillment, talks about happily ever after. You can see there's a peace sign right on this card. In traditional tarot, it is like a family and a rainbow and all the cups lined up, and they're looking at their cute little house and like they're happily ever after. And then we have the Lovers card, talking about relationships, talking about friendships, talking about collaborations, talking about family relationships, and about how they're all going to work out just how they are supposed to work out, whether it's a new relationship, whether it's the one you're in, whether it's your family, whether it's friends, business relationships. This is like, hang in there, because good stuff is coming, is this whole top row, all from the same deck. I was just completely blown away. Right here in the center on the bottom, we have the 3 of Wands. On a traditional tarot deck, you see how this kitty's looking off? Well, he's looking at the wall, but in a traditional tarot deck, the 3 wands are propped up, and it is a person on like a cliff looking out over the ocean. The 3 of Wands represents new opportunities, new progress, expansion, sometimes overseas travel or travel outside of your regular circles, travel outside of your regular box. It's a really positive card for business. It's even a positive card for partnerships and relationships. It's just fascinating to me how these cards came up. Now, we do have right over here this 9 of Swords. Now, the 9 of Swords talks about carrying anxiety, carrying your pain, carrying your burdens, and the cutting hurt of it. Not so much as the 9 of Wands, which is really about that burden that you're carrying and not putting it down, but you're close to putting it down. The 9 of Wands talks about being very conscious of the fact that worry, anxiety, and pain can be self-fulfilling prophecies. Now, what do I mean by that? If you are constantly focused on the things that hurt you, you stay in that space of noticing and attracting more things that hurt you. It is when we notice the things that hurt us and then we heal them that our change comes. When we focus on those things and we put our love, our empathy, and our unconditional forgiveness into our own experiences, into our own pains, fears, anxieties, worries, self-defeating thoughts, self-loathing thoughts, when we heal that inner narrative through unconditional love of self, through self-acceptance, through embracing who we are in this moment on the journey as little tiny shoots, little tiny shoots just barely up on the ground. When we accept those shoots as fully as plants, they are a full plant, even if they are not fully grown yet. When we accept ourselves in that space, we embrace our happiness. We are on the road to our happily ever after. We are in that space of expansion, moving forward, and we become better partners for the people in our life when we love ourselves. There's a saying, I love RuPaul. I think RuPaul is absolutely amazing, and there's many things that RuPaul has said that I get behind 100%. But at the end of every show, she says, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? Can I get an amen up in here? And then all the queens say amen. And I say amen right along with them. However, it is much easier to love someone else when you don't love yourself than it is to receive love from someone else when you don't love yourself. Receiving love is far more difficult than giving love for most of us. Because if we don't believe that we are worthy, if we don't believe that we are stars, that we are worthy of this love, if we don't believe that the sun shines within us, then we have a very hard time accepting that another person could possibly see that in us. And we will often sabotage that. That space is part of this cutting Nine of Swords, this fear, this worry, this anxiety that everything's going to come tumbling down. When you love yourself unconditionally and accept yourself as you are, you start to believe that the world around you can also accept you exactly as you are. And yet, as soon as we do that, we start to shift and change and improve. I don't like to use the word improve because we're perfect as we are, but shift into the next space of our own growth and expansion once we accept the space that we're in, even if we don't really like it. It's a duality and it's opposing thoughts, but it's really the key to push the train forward is accepting where you are right now. I love this reading for you guys. I love this reading. Okay. You are beloved. You matter. You are loved.